Welcome back to another week of Eye of the Storm, a Guelph Storm podcast with myself, Ryan Drury, the voice of your Guelph Storm on Rogers TV. Very pleased to be joined by another member of the roster this year, a guy who's in his third campaign with the Storm, has become a fan favorite with all the hard work that he does out there. Hunter McKenzie joins us on the show. Hunter, how are you, man?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm doing well, and like I said, I mean, you've really become a fan favorite because Guelph, they love their lunch pail guys, and I think you certainly fit the bill. And you know, coming from the background that you do, it's not a big surprise that you're one of the hardest workers out there every night. Tell us a little bit about how you're feeling about being settled as part of the team now, your third season with the Storm. What's the whole OHL experience been like for Hunter McKenzie?
I mean, yeah, everything's been great. Obviously, Guelph's a great city to play in. The Sleeman Center's always buzzing, and it's always amazing. I thought like coming into it my first year was I was 15. It was a little different from the countryside where I usually live, but Guelph welcomed me very well. My billets were amazing, or still are amazing, and yeah, just the billets. It's not right downtown, so it's more like at home, like the countryside of it, but. Yeah, just everything's been great in Guelph so far.
You mentioned coming from the countryside. Obviously, you're a proud native of Holstein, Ontario, and I grew up in an area very similar. I'm an Arthur boy, so I know what Holstein's all about. It's a similar type of area. Arthur, Mount Forest, Holstein. It's all kind of interconnected. Take us back to growing up in Holstein, what it was like growing up being a young hockey player there, and some of your earliest memories when you were a little kid falling in love with playing the game.
Yeah, just when I was first falling in love with the game, my dad was always putting the hockey rink up together in our front yard and stuff. So that's really where the memory started with just playing hockey with my parents, my brothers. I've got three brothers that were always on the rink together, competing pretty hard. So that was always amazing, and it's far from most hockey rinks. Like I played in Chelsea when I played Grey Bruce Highlanders, and Chesley's just a really small rink. It's a tight organization. It was great playing there, and then minor midget I went to Halton, which was a long drive, but I made a lot of new friends there and improved my hockey a lot there too as well. So
Take me back to that outdoor rink because you mentioned having three brothers. I don't know where you fall in the age order. If you're the youngest, the oldest, where do you fall?
so I'm the youngest. I'm a twin. I have a twin brother
Oh.
named Hartley, and then my oldest brother, he's an '02 birth. His name's Jackson, and then I've got a Charlie. His name is he's an '04. He was actually drafted to Owen Sound in 2020.
That's right. And obviously your brother's good mix there. You're the young guy, so you're the one out there with your twin trying to kind of prove yourself to the older brothers. I'm sure there were some times where mom and dad had to deal with a couple bruised ankles from some hack and wax on the front door rink.
Oh yeah, of course. A couple fights, maybe even two, but yeah, I can remember one memory where me and Hartley, my twin brother, were on the rink, and I shot a puck and it ended up hitting him in the head, and we weren't allowed real pucks for a while. It was just the foam pucks for a little bit, but
Yeah,
yeah,
you maybe have to tone it down to like a tennis ball or
yeah.
something. Yeah, that makes sense. It's probably a good call from mom and dad. Um, Tell me a little bit about your parents. Hockey parents, they're a unique breed, and they got four active young boys. I mean, I'm sure they've enjoyed your career so far, and I know they try and make it out to games as often as possible. Tell me about your relationship with your parents and just how special it is to enjoy this journey with them.
Yeah, obviously we're really close. My dad coached me for a while, in Grey Bruce, and he was pretty hard on me, but it was all in good light, and he pushed me, and he still pushes me. So obviously my dad and I are really close. I always love my time with him, and then my mom's always been the bigger support or a big supporter of mine too. She's usually the one trying to calm my dad down if I had a bad game or something, but. She drove me to Halton. Those practices, late night practices, were an hour and a half away, and my mom always drove me, um, even though she had to work the next morning. And yeah, just the support. They come to most games. They've been to Sioux a couple of times now, and yeah, they support me more than I could ever ask for.
Incredible people, man. Hockey parents, there's something special about them for sure. And like I said, they've definitely enjoyed watching your career progress. You mentioned playing a bit in Grey Bruce, obviously, Chesley, and then of course for the U14 Highlanders, where you had a really great season for them. You had a 50-point season in 32 games. When you start playing for AAA clubs like that, I mean, the Grey Bruce Highlanders are a well-renowned program that have cranked a lot of OHL talent and even NHL talent out over the years. When you start playing at that kind of level, Hunter, was that around the time you started to think, maybe there's a future in this game for me beyond just, playing with my friends? Maybe there's something more going on here.
Yeah, I mean, my first year, I had a good season, and then obviously when it came to that U14 age, that's when I really figured out like that I could do something with this, and obviously coming to going to Halton and then coming to Guelph has been amazing. But I think it really started in that U14 area.
Then you go and you mentioned that you played for the Halton Hurricanes as well, another really well respected junior program that has cranked a lot of talent out as well. And you noted your mom making the sacrifice to make all those drives. For a kid coming from a rural area to all of a sudden be thrust into more of a cityscape, and you're a young kid thinking, I'd love to get drafted to the OHL. I'm sure that was maybe a little bit of a culture shock, but it didn't seem to affect you because you had another great season.
Yeah, I mean it was obviously way different. The it's more of a city down there for sure, and yeah, Halton was amazing. I made a lot of friends, obviously, and it's a great organization too. So
Now, I want to talk about when you found out that you were going to be heading to the OHL when you got drafted by the Guelph Storm. I'm sure that had to have been a pretty fun night at the McKenzie house.
yeah, yeah, it sure was. I had a couple friends over. My dad had one of his work buddies over who was he was a loud guy too. So yeah, just taking that first call from George was amazing. It was obviously um a night I'll remember for the rest of my life, of course. And then just being around my family and friends was amazing while it happened.
Now, your journey mirrors a lot of your teammates in that, and really a lot of guys around the OHL, in that you spent some time in Junior B as well. I know you suited up for a couple games for the Listowel Cyclones at one point, and then got a chunk of games in with the Air Centennials, who are basically a feeder club at this point now for Guelph Stormtown, particularly with goalies lately. We're seeing a lot of great goalies coming through the Centennials program. What was your experience like playing in Junior B? I've covered the league for over a decade, and I still think it's very underrated. What was your experience like?
Yeah, I mean it's definitely very underrated. My time in Listowel when I was 18 there was amazing. That was like the first taste I had of professional hockey. It kind of felt like, and yeah, the coaches and everything were very professional in Listowel, and it was amazing there. And then obviously in Air it was incredible. Obviously, it built my confidence a lot there. The coaching was amazing. All the guys there were amazing. And then yeah, obviously I got called up to Guelph, and I couldn't. That wouldn't have happened without being in Air for that time.
Now, you mentioned, you step into the league as a very young man. I mean, you're 15, having just turned 16, and you end up playing 45 games in your rookie year. That doesn't happen very often. And I remember watching you play, and of course, George is there and guiding you guys along. It was a young team then, you're a young team now, which we'll touch on. But for yourself, you step in there and you play your first few games. Do you remember what your first game was like and what you were feeling that night and what it was like for your family?
I do remember my first game. I believe it was Pink in the Rink night. My
Yep.
first against Saginaw, maybe. I forget who it was against, but a very nervous night for myself. Obviously, going out there, I wanted to work as hard as I could and just and provide for the team and just kind of support the other guys there. But yeah, it was. I just remember being nervous. My parents were very excited for me. I was very excited, but you can't really shake the nerves. But yeah, it was a very, very fun night.
Now, like I said, I mean it's not very often that a kid at your age sticks with a team for 45 games. But one thing I noticed right away, and I think that everybody noticed that has endeared you so well to Storm Nation, was how hard you worked. I mean, you worked your rear end off, man. We were so impressed with you as a kid out there. You went out there and you played like a 19 or 20-year-old. Like you never back and still now you never back down from a physical battle, the forechecking, your ability to go out there and be a factor on the penalty kill as well as a young guy was really impressive. Like, take us through the emotions of going through a season like that and going, you know what, I think I'm going to stick it here and I'm not going back to junior B. I'm an OHLer now. Like, what was that whole process like? Because you really impressed your coaches and you impressed a heck of a lot of other people too.
Yeah, I mean, I think that hardworking standpoint was created in me from my dad. Obviously, my dad's a very hard worker, and I worked on a couple farms when I was younger too, so that was always hard work. And then that year, it was just I wanted to work as hard as I can. I wanted to be in that lineup. It was overcoming the obstacles of being in junior B, which was great, but everything was just I just wanted to work as hard as I could, and providing physicality is something that I was always good at. So that was something I would I still do, and I did then. And I remember one of my games I said all I need is a forecheck or something to Ryan McGuire, and that's kind of sticked. And now I still go by that a bit, just saying I just need a forecheck and that'll be going. And then yeah, just the hard work is something that's kept me.
Well, I would agree. And there's been a lot of nights where a Hunter McKenzie and maybe Ryan McGuire out there with you, forecheck, has really set the tone or turned an emotional tide for the Guelph Storm. And that certainly happened recently with that 4-0 comeback against the North Bay Battalion. Like, of all the games I've been able to cover, in my few years here with the team, that was probably one of the most exciting nights at the Sleeman Center in a really long time. Like, you guys are the youngest team in the league this year. There's a lot of hard workers and a lot of guys trying to set the tone for their careers. You're kind of a veteran guy on the team now. Take me through the whole process of what that game was like. You're down 4-0. What starts happening on the bench?
Yeah, I mean, I think that kind of just describes our group. We're a very resilient group, and obviously we weren't happy with our first, and then after the first, we all came together and started working our behinds off, and obviously we went goal by goal, minute by minute, and we came back, which is incredible.
What was everybody feeling like? I almost blew my voice out when Max Domestikov scored that OT winner to seal it. 4-0 down, 5 unanswered goals, OT winner on home ice. What's everybody feeling like when you jump over the boards onto the ice? It was quite a celebration.
Oh man, when an OT winner goes in, it's hard to explain how it feels, and that goal by Max was incredible as well. So that added to a bit of the excitement as well. But jumping the boards is no better feeling in OT, and obviously a goal like that's insane. So yeah, it was great.
The fans loved it, and let's touch on the fans. And I know how you feel about Guelph and how the city feels about you and about this team this year. And like I said, despite you guys being the youngest team in the league and having some ups and downs, finding your way as a group, the fan base, it's real special. Like, we talked about it last week with Matt Newby, and everybody feels it, from the staff on the team to you guys, the players, to us up in the booth. I mean, you'd be hard pressed to find many better fan bases in junior hockey than the Royal City, man. What is it like playing for those fans?
It's amazing. Obviously, the fans never disappoint. They always pack the Sleeman Center as well, and they're always loud supporting our team. So it's amazing how supportive everyone is, even if we're in a slow streak or a cold streak. They're always supporting us, and it makes it easy to play in the Sleeman Center no matter what.
like I said earlier, you've kind of become one of the veteran guys on the team. This is your third season. You've already set new career highs in goals and points. You're a goal away as we record this from joining the double digit club. You got quite a few guys that are rolling into that. The offense is starting to come. Like, I think everybody's starting to see the nucleus of what this team is going to become. And it's really, really exciting. But being one of the older guys on the team now and one of the more experienced dudes out there, when you reflect back on that first year and that second year, you've kind of become an emotional leader in the room now. Who are some guys, maybe not even just in Guelph, but along your hockey journey that you learned from to become that consistent leader?
I think my dad taught me a lot. I think my dad, he's obviously as a vocal guide to me and my brothers, and he taught me a lot about how to be a leader. And then a guy, Liam Francis, he was the assistant coach in Grey Bruce. He taught me a lot of how to be a leader as well. He's a very good guy. And then my coach in Halton, Trevor, he taught me a lot. He taught me a lot how to lead. He gave me a letter my first year there, which my only year, and that was that was very generous. I just it kind of helped me to build on my leadership skills and just help other people at the same time.
And then now, that you've been with Guelph for a little while, you've been around some pretty good leaders as well in your time. I can think of a few of them. I'm sure you took lessons and they all left a bit of an imprint on you as well in Guelph.
Yeah, yeah, guys like Cooper Walker my first year, Ben McFarland my first year as well. Those guys were amazing to me. And then obviously Jake Murray my first year as well. They all help the young guys, and that's kind of what I want to bring along through my career in Guelph is just the young guys are just as good as you, and they just want to learn and build on their skills. So guys like those guys really helped me along. And then Braden Bowman, the captain last year, he was incredible as well.
Yeah, Bones. He's a special kid for sure. Everybody liked Bonesy. Talk about your newly named leadership core in terms of letters this year. Obviously, Jet Luchenko. Everybody knows what that guy's all about. He gets to see Jake Carabella, hometown kid. Great story. He's going to finish his career with his hometown team. And of course, Charlie Paquette, who's also become a big time fan favorite. Like when those guys get those letters stitched on, everybody else in the room, like, what's your reaction to that, and what's special about playing with those dudes?
Yeah, I mean they're all special people. They're all amazing guys, and they all deserve it incredibly. They all lead by example, and they're vocal as well. Yeah, yeah. Honestly, there's not much to say other than they're all great leaders, and they all show everyone how to play hockey, obviously, and how to live their lives.
Early in your career, you, like I said, played quite a bit at times with Ryan McGuire, and you'd go out there, and Charlie Paquette would actually go out there quite often. That was a trio, and we were calling you guys the Bash Brothers because that line would just go out there and cause absolute chaos. What do you remember about those days and just playing with those guys and having fun out there throwing the weight around? I mean, you're a big, strong farm boy. I know that you got that hidden farm strength that kind of surprises guys at times. What do you remember about that? And what's so fun about playing physical like that for you?
Yeah, I remember how fun it was with just all three of us going around hitting people and stuff. And then it's just there's something about hitting a guy that brings energy to the team that it just makes you want to do it more. And the amount of energy that line brought to the team was amazing. And that's something I've continued or tried to continue to do.
Yeah, you're still doing it. We see it up there. I want to ask you a little bit about the equipment you use. I like to ask all the guys, what their preferences. What kind of skates are you rocking with, and what's your stick like?
I've been using the Bauer Shadows for my skates.
Nice.
They're really great stakes or skates. The best ones I put on my feet for sure. And then my sticks, the Trigger 9, I believe. I think I'm going to the tax. I'm not sure what the tax is called, but um, yeah, I like the Trigger. So
What kind of flex do you prefer? Like, are you a stiffer guy? Are you a more whippy guy? Like, what are you? I always rolled with an 87. What are you sticking with?
I've been sticking with an 85.
Yeah.
Um, I'm switching to the tax just because it feels whippier at the 85 flex. But yeah, I've been an 85 flex guy for a while.
Have you changed your curve much through your career, or has there been one pattern that you really like that you've used?
I used the P29, the Crosby curve, for most of my life, and then I think my second year at Christmas time, I changed to the P28, which is the McDavid curve. So it's more of a toe hook. And
Yeah, a
I've,
lot. It's popular. That curve's really popular now.
mhm. Yeah, I really like that curve.
And it's still flat enough too. I mean, I it makes sense. The Crosby curve, they call him the superstar grinder. It makes sense that flatter curve for wedging pucks free in the corner. It seems like a good tool for you.
Yeah, for sure it is.
When you were young and growing up, I mean, being from the area we're from, I mean, I can only just assume potentially you grew up a Toronto Maple Leaf fan, maybe, or okay, yeah. So we've confirmed that. Any favorite players growing up that, inspired you to keep going?
I'd say Sidney Crosby when I was really young. I always loved watching him, and I think it went from. There's a couple players that I've really liked to watch. I like to watch Tavares when he first came to the Leafs. Sorry, I liked Kucherov for a while when Tampa was winning. I'm a bit of a bandwagon sometimes. And then obviously Matthews, the way he shoots, I've really enjoyed to watch.
Well, okay, so I want to ask you then, because we've had a heated debate going for a couple years now around playing Chell. I'm sure you and your brothers had classic battles on the game. I've heard for a couple years Ryan McGuire fancies himself the best player. I heard some people claim Bonesy was better than him, and now there's a competition brewing again within the locker room. What is your skill set like? And did you jump around and use different teams, or did you have one franchise that you kind of like to stick with because it suited the way you played?
Um, I'm all right at NHL.
Okay.
When I'm playing, all the boys are really good at it. So when I'm playing them, it's usually not a very good matchup for myself. But we usually randomize teams, so I don't really pick one. But when I was younger, playing my brothers at home, I'd always be the Leafs or Pittsburgh.
That
So
makes sense. That
yeah,
makes sense. I'm a
yeah,
wash guy, so I always have to use capitals, right?
yeah,
You know,
yeah.
you talk about a good forecheck. I mean, Tommy Wilson, Alex Ovechkin. Come on, I got to set the tone.
Yeah.
Um, I've heard debate that Charlie Paquette maybe thinks that he actually might be the best player on the team. Have you witnessed a head to head between him and Miggsy? Like, can you offer any confirm or deny on who you think the best guy is?
I have seen a matchup between them, and I think Miggsy beats him by a fair bit every time. But actually, Lev
Whoa.
Kelly, he's really good at NHL as well. So I'd say it's between this
Oh,
this year. I think it's between Miggsy and Katzen.
okay. I That's an interesting name to throw in the hat here. I also, a couple weeks ago when I was chatting with Good Luck Chuck, Mr. Paquette, about this euchre league on the bus. Are you participating? And if so, how are you doing?
Yeah, me and Searles are teammates for Euchre. Um,
Okay.
we're about 50%, I'd say. Miggsy and his partner are always good, and then Charlie and his partner, I forget who their partners are both good. But I think me and Searles win majority of our matches. But I'd say overall, as of like the whole year, we're probably around 50%. But
Okay. There you go. That's fine. That's mid pack. I appreciate the honesty on the NHL and the euchre front. Very honest guy. A good, honest, hardworking farm kid. I wouldn't expect anything less from you, Hunter. I've been told to ask you, and I promised that I would not reveal who told me to ask you this. It's my understanding that you have a bit of a unique nickname in the locker room. Could you explain?
yeah, Monkey Macker has been my nickname recently. So I don't know if you've seen the post, but on Halloween they posted all of our younger Halloween costumes, and
Yes.
I was dressed as a monkey that year. So So Leo, Serlin, and McGuire, we were in the car to a school visit, and they just started calling me Monkey Mac. I think Serlin was the one that started it, but yeah, it's weird how that one stuck. So
Well, I might have to steal that now and start rolling that out in the booth when you score. I don't know that. I also heard though, as the resident timekeeper and penalty box attendant, Tevin Salins, who's a very old friend of mine, he saw you at a PJHL game at the Fergus Whalers, and there was some incident with you winning free pizza and not sharing it. So he's been referring to you as the pizza guy. Can you explain this story?
yeah, so my brothers both played in Junior C and
Yeah.
Mount Forest for the Patriots, and they were down in Fergus playing the game. So I figured I'd go watch, and then some lady didn't want to do the. She got selected to do that contest from the Red Line, and she came up to me and asked me if I want to do it. And I'm like, yeah, sure, why not? And I ended up sinking two out of the three from the Red Line. So they didn't actually give me pizza. It was a coupon to for free coffee at A&W in Fergus. And then
Oh,
at the
okay.
end of the year, they invite all the winners back, and then I think you can win some pizza. But yeah, I didn't get any pizza, so maybe I'm the coffee man.
Okay, so there's a bit of a fabrication here. You're not the pizza guy, but yeah, maybe we can mix a coffee thing in there. I'm a big
Yeah,
coffee guy. That's fine. I mean, if you're gonna cash that coupon in, give me a ring. I'd love to have a coffee with you. Why not? Um, I want to ask you as well. Obviously, like I said, we grew up in a similar area. The farming community is very big where we grew up. How much do you think growing up on a farm and kind of working on farms and having that, that farmer strength mentality influenced your play on the ice? Because, you talk to lots of guys that have played in the NHL that grew up on farms. I remember asking Wendell Clark this years ago, and he said, "Oh, for sure, working on the farm definitely propelled my hockey career." Do you feel the same way?
yeah, of course. It's obviously it's very hard work working on a farm. It's long days, hard labor, but it kind of translated into my game just because it's just a um hardworking job that you sweat a lot, obviously long days too. So that kind of like translated into my game naturally, just the hardworking part. So
Yeah, hockey seems a little simpler, eh? I mean, running over a guy in the corner is a little easier than baling hay all day, eh?
yeah, it sure is.
It makes it a little more fun, I would think.
Yeah.
I always like to, pick your guys' brains, and again, based on the area we're from, I wouldn't be surprised if you were, a big part of the country crew on the team. I know the team is a very big country music group. I would assume you'd fall in there.
Yeah, of course. I'm not a big rap listener or anything. I think 99% of the music I listen to is country. So
I would assume that you're in there with like, the Morgan Wallens and like Luke Bryan, all the newer stuff. But being a farm kid from the area we're from, I'm sure that mom and dad cranked up a bunch of the old classic country artists back in the day too. Rattle off a few favorites that I'm sure mom and dad made you listen to that maybe you love now.
Tim McGraw's a big one.
There you go.
Jason Aldean I also enjoyed.
Uh huh.
Um, Luke Bryan when I was younger, I enjoyed listening to him as well. Yeah, Luke Bryan. Yeah, Luke Bryan. Those are the only three I can figure out off the top of my head. Like 750 OBO from Tim McGraw, Shotgun Rider, all those songs I still listen to today. So
Maybe a little Alan Jackson, a little Brooks and Dunn.
Bricks and Dunn I listen to a bit. Yeah.
Yeah. Little Garth. You gotta have Garth in there too. Little Garth Brooks. All right, he's the highest grossing country star of all time. I'm sure you got a healthy dose of Shania Twain as well.
Yep, actually, a guy my dad worked with for a while was big into Shania Twain, so
Of course.
that was played around quite a bit.
We listen, we're Canadians. We're all a little into Shania Twain at the very least. I genuinely wonder too. A lot of guys have come up with interesting answers, and I grew up, in the punk scene, hard rock, metal, and That's why I like to, I always refer to the way you play hockey as kind of, some people would describe it as smash mouth. I like to describe it as punk rock hockey. I think you play punk rock hockey. So I have a few ideas, but I wonder if they let you pick a custom goal song, what would maybe come to mind?
I'm not sure. Like I'm not a big rap guy or anything, so it would have to be country I'd put on there.
Yep.
I'd say most likely it'd be Chris Stapleton. I can't even think of the song name. Um, it's recent. Chris.
Okay.
Um, I can't even think of the name anymore. But it would be Chris Stapleton for sure.
Okay, I can understand that. Well, Chris Stapleton's got a bit of a punk rock kind of vibe to him too.
Yeah.
He's got the long hair and the beard and everything. I think you would be well suited with something from like maybe the Clash, maybe the Ramones. Maybe spend a bit of time on YouTube after. Let me know what you think. I feel like an old school punk rock song would
Yeah.
suit you just fine, but I'll
All
take
right.
your Chris Stapleton thing too. Um, I wonder as well, growing up, especially with brothers, and I've actually seen quite a bit of your brothers, playing down in Mount Forest. Our radio station covers the Patriots quite extensively. I've seen them do a lot of winning. Um, I wonder, you guys would have grown up on days where maybe it was too stormy to hit the rink. I'm sure that there were great sports movies getting thrown onto the VCR, the DVD player. Do you have any favorite sports movies from when you were a little kid?
Um, yeah, like obviously Miracle is a great movie. Um, Moneyball, that's a little more recent, but that's a great movie as well. And then um, Goon was big when I was just before high school. Yeah, those movies we always put on the TV.
Yeah, they're the dude, Goon, modern day classic. Great film, man.
Yeah,
Really good stuff. Well, I want to ask you finally too, as we wrap up here, Hunter. You've had a great career so far. Like I said, the fans, they're always behind you and your teammates. What is it that's so special about being an Ontario Hockey League player and specifically being a Guelph Storm? What's special about it to you?
it's just the support obviously is amazing. Being playing on the Storm, it's close to home, so a lot of family members and friends get to come see me, which is also very nice. And just it's always an honor playing this. Sorry, it's always an honor playing high level hockey, and the OHL is a great place to play. So just everything, it's amazing.
Well said, man. Well, we can all tell how much you appreciate it and how much it means to you by the way you play it on the ice. Really appreciate you doing this, man. Wish you all the luck going forward down the stretch drive of the season here. Thanks for doing this, Hunter.
Thank you for having me.
All right, remember everybody, you can find this podcast on YouTube, the Guelph Storm website, all your favorite podcast apps, and if you want to come down and watch Monkey Macker here and his Guelph Storm teammates the rest of the season, go to the Guelph Storm website or the Sleeman Center box office for tickets. We'll be back next week with more Eye of the Storm.